right, you guys, it's 6 o'clock, so I'm going to go ahead and call this meeting to order. It's Thursday, July 24th, meeting for the Public Art Commission. Our usual first item on the agenda is to approve some minutes, but we are going to table that. We'll need to table that until our next meeting. So if I could get a motion to table the approval of the May minutes until our August meeting.
Motion to
Thank you,
table the
Polina.
minutes.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Oh, I heard Jeremy first. Thank you, Jeremy. All right, any discussion or objection? All approved? Ayes? All right, awesome. All approved. We'll table the approval of the May minutes until our next meeting. Thank you. And then, at this point, I'll turn it over to Tanisha, who's going to give us her liaison report.
All right, everybody, I'm going to be doing a lot of talking tonight because we have a lot of updates that don't necessarily need discussion, so it's going to be a lot of me talking. So first up, I went to a construction site visit to check out the changes to the green space where the Massey sculpture was originally slated for. I am, I wish I had better pictures of it, but the green space where it was supposed to be has been pretty substantially kind of cut into by the new parking spaces. And it's less of a gradual hill now, so it seems a little less accessible. Having a sculpture there feels a little awkward. So I spoke to the construction folks, and we did a pretty long walkthrough, and we think we found a much better spot for the sculpture, and I think it's going to be a spot where it's very well seen. There is a community building that's being built, and there is basically like a little kind of eating patio outside of that where there's going to be tables and chairs, and in the center of that there's really nothing. So we thought that could be a sort of focus centerpiece of this gathering space. The good thing is that this patio space, it hasn't been poured yet, so really we'll save a lot of effort and possibly money by connecting Massey with the construction people and having that poured ahead of time instead of having Massey come post creation and pouring it himself. Any questions about that? Okay.
Sorry, how big approximately is this patio?
It's big. Do you know the exact
I mean, like,
layout of it?
in
No.
in
Yeah, it's
relation to,
fairly
like, the
large.
size of this room? So it's this big?
It is a very large patio that's going to have some picnic tables, and it sets up high so it overlooks the soccer fields and the rest of the lower area of the park. In the middle of the plaza is a grass area that's kind of an oval shaped, and I believe we were speaking about possibly putting the statue in that oval shaped kind of grass area, but pouring the pad for it while we're pouring the rest of the plaza. Yeah. It's a great space. Honestly, I think it's better than
I think it's better too.
our first option.
It's much more visible and activated, and there's always going to be a crowd there. Whereas over by the monument, you never really see people crossing that grass or anything. People just don't hang out there. So I think this is a much better spot. All right, signage for current sculptures. You know what? I should have put the pictures in here because they actually installed them yesterday. I did not realize that they were going to come out and install it because they wanted me to do a walkthrough, but they went ahead and did it. So I just need to go see them in person to sign off and pay the invoice. So we have 5 sculptures that have signage now.
They look absolutely amazing.
Oh, you saw them?
Yeah, I actually texted you a picture. It looks
Oh,
phenomenal.
good, good, good. I'm glad someone
Yes.
saw them in person.
Like, which one, like, which sculpture has one
So
right now?
all five that are here in the downtown area
Okay,
have them.
like Metaphysica and all the,
Color Fields, yeah, all those. All right, so hopefully some of you saw when you walked in, we finally got the high school art installation up. I did send you all a date to hold. On here, when I was doing this, we didn't know if it was going to be the 14th or 21st. We went with the 21st because the 14th is actually a city council meeting. So the 21st is on your calendar. I hope you guys can all come, and we'll probably open it up to the, public as well. I don't expect a huge crowd, but the students will probably come with their families and that sort of thing. So yeah, take a minute if you haven't looked at them to check them all out. They're really, really good. And they're by all different grades, not just seniors. So pretty exciting work out there. All right, and I think I'll just keep talking. So Chalk Walk, this is probably already out of date. I've been working on this a lot, and I've been spending money getting all this stuff done. So we are probably pretty close to being ready for day of, which is great because I'm early. So a couple added things that we're doing this year is I rented misting fans because a lot of people complained about the heat last year. A lot of vendors were really hot, and people complained about not having a place to cool down. So I'm doing 4 big misting fans. We're going to do a water table this year, free water. And then I also upgraded the porta potties to a trailer rental, which I think will make a big difference.
Can I make a suggestion too? I don't know if it's possible or feasible, but my booth was like in the middle and facing, like the sun was just beating
Oh.
down. Is it maybe feasible to turn everybody around so we're facing the city hall? That would have taken, 20 degrees off of me probably.
You know what? I'll look at that
Okay.
because the sun should be in the same place.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Thank you for that. No, I mean like date and time wise. I am working on the t-shirts. I haven't put in the order yet, but I have all the, what am I trying to say? The files and stuff done for that. I have not done a walkthrough with Zach yet. He's the artist management guy. We probably need to do that soon. The layout is really going to be the same as last year, so it's not too much to talk about. But doing a walkthrough with the artist manager is always good. Marketing, I don't know if I told you guys this already, but Discover DeKalb gave us, I put 85 on here. I think it's actually 8. But Discover DeKalb gave us $8,000 to spend on marketing this year for Chalk Walk, and I have spent that. So we're doing a whole bunch of radio ads, newspaper ads, magazines, all kinds of stuff. So that's really exciting. I still need to keep working with city staff to figure out all the street closures and all that stuff. And my next slide, please plan on volunteering. I really, really, really need you guys. It's, I'm only asking for 2 hours per shift. You can do more than that if you want. Some of them are just sitting down. Like, Shannon, her husband came and did the info booth. Yeah, yeah, that's right. So you can scan this and also let people know, especially if you have like any teenagers in your life. The high school sends a good amount of volunteers, and they were great last year. So we definitely want to keep that going as well.
Do you think you need more volunteers than what you've gotten before? Because we could try to brainstorm some places to recruit from.
Yeah, really, I need more volunteers on specific shifts because, the teenagers don't like to get here too early.
Yeah.
So if anyone's an early riser, I could really use help in the morning. And then breakdown help's always nice just because it makes things go faster. We all get home faster. But yeah, early morning would be amazing. Because it's often just me running around like a chicken with my head cut off, trying to get all the vendors in their spots. And Shan helped with that last year too. That was very helpful.
I can volunteer my boyfriend because I'm gonna fly, so if I'm working, I can be here early too and help with breakdown too.
Okay, yeah.
Do what? So make him do it. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. This was discussed at our last meeting, but we did not have a lot of people here, and we wanted to bring this back up. This, to give a little bit of background, this was part of the Babe Walls Festival last year, but this wall on the top left of your picture was apparently never in the plans to paint. We did not realize that, and people started painting on it during the community event, and we kind of let it go thinking that it was going to be painted over. That's what we assumed. It was not. It was not part of the plan, apparently. So I had reached out to the original artist, and this is the original artist. Her name is Variations, and she, I asked her if she were to extend her mural over that community wall part, what would that look like? How much would it cost? So she gave me a quote, which was very reasonable. It was something like $2,000 to extend her mural, which is shown on the bottom there. So that's what her main mural looks like right now. Here are basically the dimensions of the wall that we need to do something about. That's what it would look like painted. And then this is sort of a horrible thing because there is not it should not be going back into the distance here. Pretend this is one flat plane. So $2,200 to extend that mural, or we can basically gray wash it and table this for another time. There was some discussion about if we gray wash it and hire a different artist, should we keep within the Babe Walls rules, which is only female and non-binary artists? Which I think is a valid question because it's right in the middle of the big murals and the small murals. So you would really be breaking it up if it wasn't a Babe Walls artist.
Is this the same wall that we've had conversations before about where
Yes.
we talked about doing chalk
Yes,
board
yes.
paint or something? Okay.
And I will say, I distinctly remember us saying that we were underwhelmed by the original artist's proposal of all these W's, which is supposed to be in reference to women.
Yeah.
I'm all about women power, but I think just the general concept we were underwhelmed by. And so if I recall correctly, I'd have to go back and double check our minutes maybe. But I think that we opted for the gray wash, and then we were going to put it out to a call for other artists. If we did not have conversation about whether or not it should be someone who fits within the parameters, an artist who fits within the parameters of the original Babe Walls project, I don't recall, and I don't think that we did specifically discuss that. So I'm open to discussing that. I also am in agreement that I think it would behoove us to stick to that. But my vote still is to go with a different option rather than the proposal from the original artist.
May I speak to this? So, in the original meeting, when this was brought up, it looked like that we had two options. One was to go back with the original artist and paint it over or gray wash it. And I feel like I created the discussion by saying, hey, we got this opportunity to have another artist come in here and do something different. It'd be more powerful. It looked like a big wall and so forth. After that meeting, some things were brought to my attention that kind of made me start thinking differently in some manner. One, that it was part of Babe Wall and it needed to be a female artist or, fall under the perimeters of this art project because everything else there is that. And then I just needed to go over and look at it for myself. So I went over and looked at it. The picture here makes it look huge. And that's why I was just like, man, you got all this space. You could do something really cool there. But going and looking at it in person is very underwhelming. It's just a little sliver of a wall. And the W's and stuff, yeah, as you see them just by themselves, like that, it doesn't look cool. But if it's that mural is just extending all the way out and just kind of, fading out basically is what it's doing, I think it's perfect to put it back there just like that. I think it's like almost the only thing that would fit there.
I kind of agree with you. I like the extension of the original artist. I mean, maybe we can have her put something over, like she has the girl over the words, like "Go Girl," or something like that, just to add something else. Maybe a hand on the other side, but I mean, overall, I like the idea of the unity of it being there. I feel like it would be too hard of a contrast if we had something on the other side of it.
And I mean, from this slide too, I thought that it was a corner. So then I was like, oh, it's a corner. That makes, some of that makes sense, but.
Yeah, I do not have a program in which I can turn things in 3 dimensions, so I had to do what I had to do my best.
So, again, when I looked at it in person, I mean, you had the dimensions there. It's 7 foot tall at the tallest part. Yeah. And then it just it just disappears. I mean, it's not really, in person, it's so minor that even if you did get another artist out there and put something in there that we thought was like elaborate and so forth, I don't think there's really the space there to really give anything else a full, a full stage. It's just, it's really just kind of lends to fading out from the big piece. Some of it's going to be to go back with the original artist. I think if we go back and do gray paint, like which we had, it's just going to get tagged again, like it always does.
Is this the wall that she had people like painting on? Okay, all right, now I know exactly where this is.
My thought was kind of like Kelsey's in the sense of, having a word on it. But my only question in regards to that is, with the way that the size kind of goes down, is it going to look strange to have another word on it? If it's something where it wouldn't look strange, I would love to see that continuation of a phrase of some sort. But overall, I agree that it should probably just remain with the same artist.
Or if there's like other imagery or something that represents females, or something like that, that would fit as like an angled piece. I'm not sure. She's the artist. She probably has better ideas than we do. Maybe just a small revision to add some detail to the mock-up that's currently there.
Elmer, do you want to give an opinion one way or the other, how you feel? Otherwise, we can just put it to a vote and...
No, I mean, we discussed it last time. I mean, regardless, we need to do something, and the discussion we had last time is, quite frankly, for the amount of money, we're not going to get another artist to come in and do anything for $2,000. So it's either, if we want it to be a piece of art, then we go with the existing artist. If we don't, then it goes into gray paint and goes into the bucket for a project in the future. Because I don't think we have the room in the budget this year to do more than that.
I would disagree. I think we do have room in the budget this year. We do have a reserve line item of $10,000 that we could potentially pull from. But I'm happy to put it to a vote. I can certainly be outvoted. It sounds like more folks are leaning more towards the original artist. So I'm happy to vote against and let that be the answer to the question.
And I did want to say, you are right, this was voted on in that meeting, but there was so much conversation afterwards that I thought it was important to bring back up again.
Okay. Well, we can take a second vote.
Yeah.
So the,
May I ask a question? So if we vote to go back with the original artist, are we also going to ask for more kind of ideas and then vote on that?
Yeah, I would go back to her and say, here were some, this was what was talked about. Do you have any ideas? And we'll see if that changes the price or anything like that, and then we could move forward from there.
yeah, if she can offer some revisions and a revised budget, I think that would be the best way forward. Okay? So it sounds like the vote,
Just to be clear then, if the decision is made, if there's a motion is made and it's voted on to proceed with this artist, you're locking into this dollar amount. Or you're effectively saying, we want to do this, but we're going to kick the decision down the road, and so you're going to have to reapprove the budget in another vote at another meeting. Just want to make sure everyone's clear on that.
so let me see if I can kind of summarize what I've been hearing in this conversation, is that it sounds like most people want to go with the same artist because they want the cohesiveness of the piece to butting up against it, but no one is in love with the existing proposal that she's given us, which is just all the Ws, correct? Am I understanding?
I'm okay one with the other, because again, like when I saw it, I think the W's just kind of, trinkle away, and that it gives that look. I don't know that it needs another big piece there, but if other people want to vote to put something there from the artist, I understand that now the vote's either going to be, we vote to vote for that art piece that she's already given us at the dollar amount, like was just said, or we got to vote, yes, we want to go with this artist, but now we got to vote again when the other pieces come.
I agree with Jeremy. I'm more indifferent to the additional revision. I'm perfectly okay with the W's just extending where they are. But if we collectively think that it's not busy enough, we can definitely ask for that. But, yeah, I'm okay either way, really.
So can we vote now, like, do we want to go with what's already been proposed, or do we want to go with?
So someone needs to make a motion to
Okay.
do something.
I'll make a motion to vote for going with the artist with the proposal that she sent versus going with the artist, huh? That's it?
You have
I
to say
thought-
one thing.
Okay,
When you're making a motion, you're making a motion to do one specific
okay,
action.
cool. All right, going with the artist with the, okay, I thought it was a vote against the two. All right, that's my motion.
I will second that.
All right, cool.
All right, so all in favor of going with the original artist? Okay, thank you for the point of order. We appreciate you always providing that for us. Us arts folks are not wise to the ways of these public meetings, so thank you. Okay, so we've already had some discussion, but is there any additional discussion that needs to be had about the motion? Okay, so, all in favor of voting for the artist, the original artist, who painted the mural adjacent to this space to, come and fill in this space in question with the proposal that they have placed before us that you've already seen the photos of. All in favor, raise your hands. Okay, we've got 5 in favor, 1 opposed. All right, motion passes.
All right. Just a real quick update on the mural granting program that we approved in our budget this year. We had approved $50,000 to get this kicked off. I and a couple wonderful PAC members have been working away on this, and it's a pretty big packet. I won't go through it, but I think it's great. And right now it is with our legal team to get kind of the final stamp. And I've also been working with the economic development team to identify some businesses that may be able to move quickly with receiving the grant and getting paint up on their walls, so that we can get the $50,000 spent before the end of the year. So I'm working with them on that, and, you know, I think this is gonna be great. So once we get it back from legal, I'll be full steam ahead on it. And if anyone wants to see it, see what exists as of now before it goes through legal, just let me know and I can send it to you.
This is going to be a really exciting project, I think, for us, on an annual basis, and just the ability of the community to have buy-in and have something on their own existing property with support from us, and having us to help guide them through that process, and identifying an artist if they don't already have one they want to work with, and being able to financially provide some support. I think it's going to be just a really cool project that we can do year after year. It's going to be great.
And I think too, just one more note, I've been thinking about, you know, the way that we're going to strategically plan our budget for next year to line up with the end of our 10-year master plan, arts master plan. And I think this is a really good checkbox, because what we can do is get murals in the areas where there are not currently any pieces of art. And that's been the city council has asked for that a number of times. So I think that'll be great. All right, new business. Okay, so I had sent, I can't remember if this is an email or if it was just on Teams, but I had a meeting with a gentleman who is on the DDA, and he is also trying to revive a sort of a historical society that apparently was active at one point in Chamblee, fell apart, but there's a number of people who are interested in reviving it. So one project that he threw out that he kind of wanted help on was coming up with a piece of public art for the new city center. Now, the city center is not going to be done for a long time, so this isn't an immediate project, but I had put it out for kind of ideas, and I did some research on my own and sent him back a whole bunch of images of just kind of different ideas where you could, you know, sort of spell out the history of Chamblee in an artistic way. And of course, there's the, you know, standard murals, things like that, but there's also some more modern kind of looking things. So he really appreciated that, and I just kind of want to put it back out to the PAC that if you have any ideas, or if you kind of maybe know someone who does this kind of work, you know, I think they're open to any kind of feedback and help.
One thing that comes to mind immediately for me is I would love to see if there are any indigenous or Native American artists that we could work with, because I think it would be really awesome if we were able to maybe acknowledge that part of our history in a realistic way that is also celebratory. I had the privilege of being able to go to Vancouver a couple of years ago, and one of the things that really struck me there was just the prevalence of so much celebration of First Nations history and art and their artisans, and just the fact that it was done in like this wonderful, loving manner. I think that there's a tendency to well, maybe at least here in our country, that there's a tendency to focus on the trauma of that, and that definitely deserves its own space. But just the way that I was struck by like the celebration of that art and that culture when I was in Vancouver was just really cool. And I think that it could be something that is not often done here, especially in the Southeast. So if there could be possibilities of working with some indigenous artists, I would be really excited by that.
If you think of it and you could do maybe some image searches and just send me a couple examples, I'd be happy to pass that on to them.
Yeah, sure, I can do that.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Well, I was just thinking, because I think Vancouver, there's a lot of like totem kind of art, but you had a column here that.
Is that in Wales? I think I've seen that.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of has a totem sort of look to it, like if there was, if there was sculptures that had that look would be really interesting. I mean, I know it would be up to the artist, but that would be interesting.
And also that really wonderful video that you guys shared in February about the history of how Chamblee got its name. I thought that was a really cool little thing. And so maybe there's a way to bring in futuristic elements with like video and digital and stuff like that. Could be fun.
Just briefly, I know an artist that did a piece for, I think it was for the city of Atlanta, but it never got put out. I think the High Museum bought it, but it's a sculpture, and it's a globe, but it's like all the streets of Atlanta. Yeah, yeah, but it was on a globe. It was pretty cool. It was huge too, but he's a great artist. He teaches over at Georgia State, so
Well, if you also would like to send me that,
I will.
yeah.
Tanisha, can you remind me, where is the city center supposed to be located?
It's right out in this space where
Okay.
there's kind of nothing across the
Yeah,
street
yeah,
there.
okay. Kind of
so that
across
whole
from the
area.
post office and back in there? Okay.
Yeah. Mhm. All right, color field. This is a bit of a sticky situation right now. So as you guys know, this sculpture went up less than a year ago, I believe. And the artist is in New Jersey, as is her powder coater. I reached out to some local people after Jody actually sent me these pictures of the paint just absolutely coming off of one single panel. All the other panels are completely fine. I sent them to some local folks, and they let me know that they could tell from the pictures that that single panel had not been pre-treated before it was powder coated. It was just a mistake by the person powder coating. So I've been looking at a couple avenues of how to deal with this. The artist is aware, and she's working with us on a solution. It's just a little difficult because on her end, having one panel done is incredibly expensive. On our end, having one panel done is incredibly expensive. Shipping this one back up to her person is a little less expensive, but it still requires me figuring out how to box this thing, have freight pick it up, so on and so forth. So anyways, I have all that information, and I thought, I'm going to show you guys the pictures here. It dawned on me that we have a great resource in Phil Proctor, who's the Metaphysica artist and also does a lot of installations and works with metal. So I've been talking to him to see if he knows anyone locally who could help us with this in some way. And he did get back to me. He asked me some additional questions. And so anyways, just know that I'm working on it, and I know that it's not pretty. And it's sad because it's so new. But yeah, and it's just the one panel. Everything else looks great.
So can I ask, not to make waves, but isn't this a responsibility of who painted it originally? So whatever it costs, it shouldn't be up to us. It shouldn't matter.
That is true, but I still have to box it somehow and do all that.
Also with that, I was going to mention, let me help with some options.
Okay.
That's what I do.
Okay,
I pack and ship, and
Yeah.
I go to New Jersey with box truck on a regular basis. So
oh.
I was just up there.
Can we just have you
Oddly
bring it up?
specific.
So, but we'd have to talk about timeline. But
Okay,
anyway,
well, let's talk about that.
So, it does suck that it already started flaking with it being so new.
Yeah. And they could tell, the guys could tell right away by looking at the metal underneath that it was not pre-treated.
Can I ask a dumb question?
Yeah.
Is it stainless steel? What's it made out of?
Aluminum. And so another very expensive problem, if we were to do it here, is that to get the current paint off, it would have to be chemically stripped, not sandblasted, because the sand will warp the aluminum. But Phil said he didn't quite believe that, so he's looking at other people.
If the sandblasting company knows what they're doing,
I mean, if it's peeling off with weather and
Nothing,
wind,
weather.
I mean,
Yeah.
can we just power wash it and see what happens, you know? I mean, that would probably be.
it's gonna take either a chem dip or a sandblast to get it off. Some of it's gonna stick. And unfortunately, you can double coat, you can go over old powder coat with new, but if you already have an adherence problem, you're just gonna double down on it. But yeah, they either used the wrong powder or they did a bad prep. And this is what I do for a living. And but there's people locally that can do it, they're just not cheap.
So we've got two avenues we're going to explore and see if Phil Proctor has some resources that could potentially help us and what that costs. And then Jeremy's going to explore and help advise on packing and getting it up to Jersey if that is the better option for the original artist to correct the problem.
Yeah, and I'll keep working with the artist, and, you know, she's a very good with communication, so I'm not worried about that aspect of it. I think we'll get it fixed with her. We just need to come up with a solution that also works for us.
So other than transport, is she willing to absorb the cost of getting it recoated and everything?
Yes, so I believe the powder coater said, if you can get it to me, I will redo it and ship it back, no cost. But the getting it up there is not the easiest.
There's other services too, you know, I mean, if Jeremy's, option doesn't work out, like, I know that I can't even remember what they're called, but they are like big vans that just drive stuff around.
So that's what I was saying. I was saying, okay. So that's what I was saying is I can work out some options for you. And I use couriers like that do freight, because I haul big pieces of taxidermy all across the U.S. And that's what they do. If they're stopping somewhere, they pick it up, they drop it off. It's in like you were saying, they're in big vans. So if the timeline doesn't work with me being able to offer my services, then we'll have that option.
Thank you. Yeah, I've really just been looking at large freight companies, and, you know, they can be expensive. So thank you for everybody's help in this. All right, another thing I've been working on is a cleaning program for the sculptures and murals. We have a couple filthy pieces of art out there, and obviously you don't want to power wash them, right? We want to keep them nice. So I've been working with a company called Horizon Hygiene, and we met a few times, and he went out and saw everything, and we went back and forth to make sure everything was very clear that we did not want these things power washed. And so he has come up with a great plan at a great price, and he's going to start the first round in August. We will probably wait for the second round until the new year, only because the second round is a lot of new murals. And they are getting dirty already, but, you know, right now we just kind of want to get the ones that when you walk by them, you go, ooh, those are dirty. So, but I think it's going to be really great, and it's a good next step for our maintenance plan. All right. So I would like to start talking about budget next meeting in earnest. And so from now until the next meeting, in past years, the way we did it was we had a document of some sort out there on the web, and people would add ideas to it. I know that a lot of people in here are able to access some things and not others, so I think we'll have to experiment a little bit with that. But also, if you have any ideas, you're always welcome to just email them to me, and I will add them. And then at the next meeting, we'll have that whole list. We can talk through it, talk about what our kind of our goals, or what, you know, which direction we really want to push in. And you guys had seen some of this sort of inspiration. This is what I was talking about for strategically looking at how we can close out the public arts master plan. And these were kind of the things that I came up with that could check those boxes. So if anyone, I think you all have this in your email, so if you want to look at this and kind of think, okay, well, what would go well with these non-traditional partners and that kind of thing. Yeah, and then we'll start talking about it. So, and then on the form, which I haven't created yet, but I'll make sure we have different sections for location, size, price. You don't need to know exactly, and if you don't know at all, just leave it blank, and, we'll get there. But if you do know, hey, this would go perfect in this exact location, I want to talk about this, then, put that location in so that we can kind of look it up on Google and that kind of thing.
And there is that doc from the last couple of years that has like all the conversation from 2025 or 2024 and 2023, I believe. So we can share that with, especially the newer folks, and if any of that kind of falls in line with the whole, like, go big, bold, non-traditional idea that you want to explore.
That's a good point, and I think there were some things on there that didn't make it this year that we said, let's bring this back up
Yeah.
next year. So I'll dig that out. That's a good point. So I have been collecting ideas as people send them to me or talk about it, and so this is what's been kind of saved already. And I'm sorry to talk to the peanut gallery again, but Jody, do we have a date on Fishbowl Park being complete? Do we know? Okay, so that would be appropriate to start thinking about those murals. So they're going to have basically walls specifically for murals in that little park. So that's a great opportunity, and it's right off the rail trail. So I don't know if we maybe want to think about a theme or a type of artist, or I don't know. That's kind of open, but it's going to be a number of walls, so we can look at that.
I'm sorry, where did you say to submit the artist?
Where Fishbowl Park is?
No, just in general. Oh, in the form you haven't made yet, okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I haven't created it yet.
All right, cool. I'll be
Yeah,
waiting.
but you can email me anytime and I'll put it on the list.
All right.
Oh, and one thing I did want to mention, so we'll talk about this next month, but Southeast Fiber Arts Alliance, they're the ones who did the bridge. They have asked if we would be interested in sponsoring a community project that they're doing. It sounds amazing. They're basically going to different cultural communities within Chamblee and asking them to create a quilt square. And then they're going to put it all together, and they want to do a little bit of like a traveling show to show it at different places. And so they've asked us if we would be willing to kind of do a donation to that specific project. So I think that's an interesting thing to put on the budget for next year as well. And everything else we can talk about next month. I guess that's it. I'm surprised. There's a lot to go over.
All right, public comment, anybody? All right, moving on. Looks like our next meeting is August 28th, the same bat time, same bat channel, so mark your calendars if you haven't already. Other than that, I will take a motion to adjourn. Got a motion from Kelsey. Do I have
Second.
a second from Paulina? All right. Any discussion? All right, all in favor of adjourning tonight? Good. All right, that, motion to adjourn passes. Thank you, everybody. August 28th.
Okay.